Yeah. Although my dad's case, he did. Parkfield Spirit.
How are you doing today?
How you doing?
Excellent.
I thought of that.
Yeah. All right. Took a while. You totally understand. I don't understand your side. I just understand my part. Yeah. Well, I still gotta ask. It's silly, you know. Yeah, I can do it this way just as well as I can do it that way. Yeah.
Maybe this weather scared people out.
Yeah, you don't know what you didn't know what it was. Boy, this morning it was. Yeah, of course, it poured down rain. I guess
4 a.m.
It was 5
We still had our bedroom window open,
Yeah.
and the water was coming in, and then our patio got destroyed. Yeah. Did you have it bad in Alexandria?
Yeah, the dog tried to sneak up on the bed. when the lightning gets bad, he does that.
We had one strike. I saw it flash. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
2 seconds later, boom.
Yeah.
Right from the house again.
Yeah. And we have metal in our backyard. So the owners before us had a hole like this. It hit the backyard and went right to the house. Now, I've never heard of that. Making a hole in the house. That replaced one of the bathrooms. Did a good job.
Good news is light doesn't strike anywhere twice.
Yeah.
In
Oklahoma and Texas, we had lightning towers. We couldn't care. Well, we've never put anything up in any case. And in Oklahoma, we had a Frady hole. You know what a Frady hole is? It's a small basement. Yeah, just a small basement just to get down. And if you're afraid, so they call it a Frady hole. And in Texas, the soil was so hard that nobody could build anything underground. So, when tornadoes come through, they're in trouble. Yes. Texas, the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandles. It's part of the wind corridor of the United States. The wind blows way worse than Chicago. It blows over trains every year. A train gets blown over.
That energy.
Well, yeah, if they're going to do it correct, they have to have an energy corridor north-south in America and then disperse it like that. And there is enough wind, to drive America. Anywhere, if you just look at Oklahoma and Texas Panhandles and draw it across north-south, anywhere you drive across there, the wind's blowing all the time. And when it's dry, like the empty West Texas, you can hardly see. I mean, to see across the road is quite a job. It's constant. It's miserable.
That's why you're in Northern Kentucky.
Yes, but we lived in Hooker, Oklahoma. We knew which way the wind is blowing. If we get out, we smell pigs, we know it's coming from the south. If we smell cattle, it's coming from the north. We have feedlots on either side, about 10, 15 miles from my house.
About the smells, the energy. Would you kind of sort?
Yeah, and then they do this. Oh, it smells like money today. No way. I'm never gonna say that. And if you've ever seen a house covered with tumbleweeds, then you've been in the Panhandles. It's like, we get snow drift, can be 6, 7 feet high, just all of a sudden. And once a year, somebody's going to get killed because they leave their car. You don't leave your car, in a snow. Yeah, you stay with your car. Don't keep the engine going either, because the back gets blocked up, and then you die of carbon fixation.
It's 12:15, and Mike Crane is going to lead us in the prayer and four-way test.
Amen.
Thank you, Mike. Well, it's not looking good for UC and X. NKU looks pretty good. They're playing in the Horizon League tonight tournament, and it's pure pandemonium in Major League Baseball. To fill us in on it, Sean Carroll.
Thank you, Dwayne. We want to make sure we welcome our guest. Well, she's been here many times. Pam Ballin, welcome back. Thanks for being here. We know that you are a much better head. So we And then baseball, we have more games canceled, which is just really amazing in these tenor of times that we couldn't come to an agreement on something that would be enjoyable for us to sit through and go down there and have a good time and relax and get some of the other things that are really, really important off of our minds. So that's unfortunate. As Dwayne said, Northern plays tonight. We're excited about that. They're getting it a little bit together. The big news over the weekend, University of Kentucky women's basketball team defeated the #1 team in the country, South Carolina. Big win there, and the ladies are all happy and excited and kind of what sports does for us. It takes us away some of the other things we think about. I saw John Schickel last week. Went down to Frankfurt. Of course, when you go to Frankfurt, there's just usually people, they're in pretty much all of the same party now, but they still can't get along. There's debates going on. But John sends his best wishes. He wishes he was here to have bread with us, and he enjoys the meal and the camaraderie. Was not all to no avail for me. Buffalo Trace was open on the way home, so that worked out better. They had a good stock in there that day, so that was good. The other thing is, it's my understanding, and Roger Babbitt's thinking about running for constable here in Boone County. So Roger, they're looking at, they have legislation pending that they would take away your gun and your badge and your one bullet. So please reconsider that going into that. Thank you, Dwayne.
Couple of things here. One of the things I started is our Happy Bucks. And we got a few people that are happy today. Don?
Well, here's the dollar, and I'm happy that my wife's here.
Gary came here and said, we're doing this new thing called Happy Bucks. And well, if I give you $1, can I say one thing? I give you 20. And Adam was like, Gary gives you 20. He wants 19 back. So, Gary.
Yeah, I'll just do $1 work. I'm so happy that I get to work for you all each and every day. I love what I do. I love going to work every day. I truly mean this. And the opportunity you give me to do that, I'm very thankful for. Thank you.
Somebody at that table? Adam?
My daughter runs a karate competition. She was at the first karate competition in Indiana, and she became the silver medalist at the Indiana State Championship this past weekend for kata and for weapons. What that means for the rest of my kids, I don't know, but none of them are messing with Clara. That's all.
Marcus?
I'm getting ready to go on a trip that I've been planning for quite a while, going down to Naples. In fact, I'm speaker talking of this. But anyway, going down to Naples to a wedding. And then from there, I'm going to see my son in Fort Myers, who's a Methodist minister. And there we're going to Fairhope. My mother-in-law is there. She's 86 and completely recovering from cancer. She had stage 4. She's completely back. Last week, she bought a new Lexus. God love her. We're going to Mexico. We'll be back here on the right on the
Anyone else? Okay, sure.
My grandson, Luke Cornwell, why he came in second in a wrestling tournament this past weekend, regionals, and he's going to state finals next week.
Gary?
There you go.
Anyone else? Well, I made it official last week. We are no longer meeting at the Turfway Hilton. And just to there are only 3 signs in the county that we know of.
Where's the name of my driver? There was one across from
I got that one.
Right there.
I received an email from the international president, and we are part of just an incredible international organization. This is what Rotary shines. They've got the shelter boxes in place that we put in. one of the Rotaries, a couple of the Rotaries in Europe are sponsoring Airbnbs for the refugees to stay in. And the international president wants us to make a donation. So we're meeting to discuss what would be a great donation for Ukraine. Don and I can agree with Chip from Berkeley Park. Last meeting, I mentioned that us sponsoring the charity night of the race. This was an event that was sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, and it was a huge event. We had anywhere from 500, 600, 700 people to attend. And the way it worked is the money carload, and so you have 5 charities show up, and they would pick horses for the spiral stakes. Then whoever's horse came in first got a certain percentage of whatever withdrawal, whatever was collected for that day. Chip thought it was a great idea. We need to clear it for Louisville. This will be an all hands on deck if we get this pushed through. This will be through all 3 Rotaries, and I think we could get at least 500, 600 people to show up. So I'll keep you informed on that. Waiting to hear from Chip. And I want to get some feedback on this to make sure we're going to commit the club to this, and we got the whole team in place. So let me know. And we've got a great speaker today. Don, you'd like to introduce our speaker?
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. So one of the things as a realtor, I get asked all the time these days is what the heck is happening in this crazy market? And I'm sure my good friend Jim Ferguson over at the Keller Williams side of the room gets the same question. So a few weeks ago, our CEO of Huff came up and gave us an overview of why is the real estate market the way it is? What is a crystal ball projection for where it's going? And of course, that can change day by day. But it was really interesting. And I said, Brad, would you mind coming talking to the Rotary Club? I mean, we've got almost everybody there is a homeowner, and sure, some of them have other properties as well. So he said, sure, I'll come up. And Brad is the CEO of not only Huff Realty here in the Tri-State, but also Sumner Realty in Louisville, WR Realty in Louisville, and Rector Hayden in Lexington. So Brad oversees about 1,500 agents and employees at those 4 companies. So his finger's got to be on the pulse of real estate, and it is. Brad's a very accomplished guy. He before real estate, he rose to the position of major in the U.S. Marines. Flew fighter jets in the first Gulf War. So then he came and segued into real estate, which can sometimes be another word. But and I've never heard Brad say this, but I really feel that when he makes decisions for our companies, he does it through the lens of what would Jesus do. It's just that kind of guy. And so it's my pleasure to introduce our CEO and also my friend, Brad Grace.
I'm also the head of IT today, I think. Well, I wasn't nervous today until I heard that we had another realtor in the room. And until I couldn't get my clicker to turn on. Now it's on. And then but I thought I'm going to get past that, and then you all did the 4-way test. And you hit number 4. Will this be beneficial to all concerned? I have no idea whether or not you're going to enjoy what I have to say. Here's what I'll say: if you do, you're welcome. I've worked really hard on this. If you don't enjoy it, Don has already heard the entire thing, so you can blame him. Okay, I'm kidding. I am going to do just a quick review, but I want to thank you all for having me. It's an honor to be here. Don, thank you for inviting me. It's really nice to get to shake a number of y'all's hands, spend a little bit of time with you. I thank you for doing the Pledge of Allegiance when you first started and for opening this event in prayer, because you're right. Real estate means a lot to me. There's a lot of things that are not fun, but my relationship with Jesus Christ is number one. So I appreciate that. Okay. Now, this thing's got a little bit of a delay, so hold on, I might need your help. The screen down here did not come on. This will get you. Oh. This might be a really short presentation. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. Okay. Yeah, I tried it.
Keller Williams didn't bomb your site.
I don't know, Jim, did you do this? Nobody's not really, he's not really friends with me so far. We really did pre-play this thing. It worked great when we first started. How many of you all bought or sold a home in 2021? One of you, two of you?
Early 22.
How many of y'all have a family member that bought or sold a home in 2021? Relative, friend, drove by a house for sale? Yeah. How many of y'all know that the market was really crazy in 2021? Really, really bizarre. I've been doing this in some way, shape, form, or another since 1992. And 2021 was by far the craziest real estate market I've ever laid my eyes on. And the metrics were just, kind of defied all the odds. I remember when we first rolled into the pandemic in 2020, in March, April of 2020, we were doing forecasts. We were doing forecasts, estimating, trying to figure out what our business would look like if we were down 25%, 35%. We've got a projection of 50% less sales than what we were anticipating. Because you guys remember in March and in April of 2020, I mean, everything shut down. Everybody went home. People were losing jobs. Places were closing their doors. And it looked like we were coming to a screeching halt. Where is the gentleman from Keller Williams? Sir, you were in the business then, I assume. Yeah, if you remember, they call it a V-shaped curve. The business fell off the cliff. It's as if the world stopped, and then almost immediately it began its ascent back out of that hole, and it took off like crazy. And we ended up having a remarkable 2020 as an industry. And by the way, everything I'm going to talk about is going to be industry-wide. You think it's working? Yeah. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate you not allowing me to ruin my entire day. So we saw it fall like a cliff. We saw it fall off the cliff, and then we saw it spring right back up and become even stronger than what we anticipated. Blew all the projections away. Best year in 15 years, I think, of real estate. Turned right around in 2021. Thought, how long can we sustain this? There's absolutely no inventory, and 2021 was even better than 2020. So it's really been a bizarre market. I'm going to talk just a little bit about last year, and then I'm going to try to zoom into what I see, and more importantly, what I think a lot of other people see as it relates to this market, to try to give you a feel for how crazy it might be in 2022. First of all, glance back to 2021, best real estate year since 2006. Nationwide, best real estate year in terms of units sold in 2006. A 7% increase over 2020. I already told you, 2020 was remarkable in all of our eyes. We had no inventory. We thought, gosh, how are we going to get through 21? beat it by 7% across the country. Mortgage rates were at an all-time low. How many of y'all have ever bought a house at higher than 2.96? Higher than 5? Higher than 10? Higher than 15? Nobody in the room? Okay. We bought ours. We were in the military at the time. We bought ours. Rates were at 12%. We bought ours. We assumed a VA loan at 9.5%. I thought I stole it. I was absolutely convinced that it was just such a deal. Little did we know that mortgage rates over the next number of decades were just going to continue to cascade down to where they are today. But average last year was 2.96. Record high growth in prices and in rents. Lowest foreclosure rates in a generation. Anybody know why foreclosure rates were so low? There was a moratorium, right? You know, the government that, you know, you're not going to be able to do it. They're going to stay there. There's all these forbearance programs that were in place. I've got good news about that because everybody, how many of y'all were nervous when the forbearance programs came out and everybody sold it? If they didn't feel like they could, that they wouldn't have to pay the mortgage. I know I was. We were really nervous about it. The good news is, again, the metrics of the market today, if a ton of them came into the market because of foreclosures, we could take it all on. It's not going to happen. And then record home equity growth. And I'm going to talk to you about, or show you just a couple of slides that back both of those up. So this first slide, it's going to be easier for you to read, I think, than for me. But you can see for 3 years, in 2017 and through 2019, foreclosures were about the same, right? They were real similar. They dropped off the cliff in 2020, and in 2021, there were next to no foreclosures whatsoever. So just kind of interesting. Here's what I will tell you. If we won't get them, but if there were 1 million foreclosures tomorrow, 1 million foreclosures tomorrow across the country, you think we'd eat them up? Immediately. If there were 1 million foreclosures, and there's not going to be anything close to that, they would be gone immediately. Home equity growth. Home equity growth in 2021. Can you see the number there? I think it's positive 24 for Kentucky. Is that right? 24,000. Nobody can read it. So any number I give you, you take home. I think it's $24,000 worth of average. The average homeowner across the entire state of Kentucky, their home equity growth, the equity that they've got in their home went up by $24,000. Not bad, right? Especially when you consider that that's the average of many small homes throughout rural Kentucky. So obviously a lot of people did a lot better than that. In a nutshell, 2021, multiple offers exceeding list price. Would you guys agree? Multiple offers exceeding list price. It was crazy. You get anywhere close and you knew you were going to get a whole lot more than what you wanted. Record low inventory continued and high anxiety for buyers, sellers, and for agents. So that's it. It was wild. We have no idea how when houses went on the shelf, they immediately came off the shelf. Inventory stayed low. It would get on the market, go on the market, come off. It go on the market, come off. It was sold that fast. But still, the demand continues. So let's look forward to 2022. Here's what I'm going to tell you about 2022. Much of what I'm going to share with you is going to come from November, January timeframes, because that's when all the economists, all the visionaries talk about what's going to happen in the upcoming year. I can tell you that the vast majority of them have already been proven wrong 2 months and a week into this market. I don't think anybody truly has a real grip on what 2022 is going to look like. But there are some important pieces that I think you'd like to know. As of November of last year, there were 1.11 million units on the market, down 9.8% from the month before, and down 13.3% from the year prior. So already depressed inventory has come down, way down to a very troublesome spot. 2.1 month supply in November. I don't know, you guys could tell me locally, I'd say we're closer to a month today, if not less than a month's worth of supply. But what does that mean? What does that mean in the marketplace? If we take no more listings, 30 days from now, there won't be a house available. If we take no more listings at the current rate of sales, they'll all be gone. That's how dire it is. I would say most people say 5 to 6 months worth of inventory is a balanced market. It's a healthy market between buyers and sellers. We've been very unhealthy in that way across the country for a long time. Today, inventory is at a record all-time low since they've been tracking it. There's not going to be a wave of foreclosures. You know, we keep looking at people that know anything about the market will ask John, will ask myself, will ask anybody in the business, when's the inventory going to start coming back? When's there going to be more inventory? Where's it all going to come from? We don't know. We don't know. The builders can't make it happen. Builders have, we'll talk about that in just a little bit, the volatility of lumber prices. The trades are so very difficult out there right now. The workforce is almost impossible. Land is very difficult. Zoning is difficult. It's hard. Everything's really expensive. So builders can't keep up. And even if they could, the price range that they come in at is not the price range we need. The first time home buyer, builders have a really difficult time creating those. Unfortunately, there's not a lot coming through the forbearance program either. Here's a couple of really smart people who say that we also expect a growing number of homeowners to bring properties to the market. So they think there are some more people that are going to add houses to the market. And then Lawrence Young, who's the head economist for NAR, says, with more housing inventory to hit the market, the intense multiple offers will start to ease and home prices will continue to rise, but at a slower pace. I would tell you that I think both of those economists are already second guessing the comments that they made just a couple of months ago. Brian Buffini, who's a real estate expert, he won't mean anything to you all, but for us, he's a pretty sharp trainer. He says more listings are coming now with the federal support and mortgage forbearance programs have ended or are ending. So there'll be some that will come, but as the gentleman, Keller Williams said, I'm sorry, your first name? Jim, as Jim said, it'll go like that, regardless of what comes to the market. I thought this slide was super interesting. And basically it's talking about houses that were for sale across the country in January of 2017, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And you can see the blue are the new listings that month, and the green are the carryover from the month prior. You can see relatively stable for 3, maybe 4 years, starting to decline in that 4th year. 2021 drops way down. Listings that came on in January were very similar to normal, but very little carryover. And in 2022, that much carryover from the month before. It's just a really, really unique time, one that none of us in this room have ever seen. So again, we think it's going to be real interesting as it relates to sales and continued demand. Interest rates. How many of y'all know interest rates have come up? Yeah, interest rates have come up. I will tell you, I think they've already come up past where everybody thought they were going to come up in 2022. Now, again, none of us have a real idea as to where they're going to go. The consensus forecast put rates at about 3.7% at the end of 2022. So this is back in November, December, January. Consensus said that rates are going to be about 3.7. What are they now, Chip and Don? Roughly. 3.95, 4, some as high as 4.25. That can vary based on fees that people charge, but somewhere around 4% is where they are today, already well above where they thought they were going to be. CoreLogic, gentleman there said that rates should average 0.5% higher than they were last year. Again, just 2 months ago, they thought they would average 3.5% this year, and they're already up to close to 4. Last week, or a little over a week ago, 30-year fixed rates averaged 3.89%. 84 basis points above 9 weeks ago. So they were roughly 3.15 9 weeks ago. You can see how fast they've moved. And that's just a little graph that gives you an indication of what they've done since 2017. The Ukraine invasion stopped some of that increase, but not for all. I think we've already seen them trickle up just a bit in the last few days. And they should continue to climb. Everybody now believes that they will be over 4% by year's end. Do you think 4% is still a good number? It's still a great number. Now, if you're a millennial or if you're a Gen Z and you're 25 years old or you're 30 years old, you think 4% is the end of the world, right? Because you've never seen anything but a number significantly lower than that. It's not true. And ultimately, I think it's going to be real strong. But there's a note in here. Should rates exceed 4.25%? I was listening to 3 economists talk online late last week. Said it will be a huge disincentive for homeowners to move because 70% of them have a rate. 70% of the homeowners out there have a rate below that number right now, and so there's no incentive for them to move because the rates have now gone in the opposite direction. Less refinances, a larger cash out share with so much equity in the homes. So that's interest rates. They're already higher than what we thought they were going to be. They're not crazy high, but if they go above that 4.25 mark, it could have a little bit of an effect on the demand and the rate of sales. Home prices. Here you can see 2010 through 2020, they went up roughly 5%. In 2021, they were up 15% year over year, home prices across the country. The forecast would be that that in 2022, this year, they would be up 8%, and then they would drop down to a more normal 4%. 3 to 5, I think, is what's customarily a healthy trend in terms of home prices. But volatility, as I mentioned, of lumber prices, the craziness in the building trades, volatility is higher than it's ever been since World War II. Zillow, and again, you either love Zillow or hate them, and the only way you decide that is if you go to Zillow and you put in your address. If it says that your house is worth more than you thought, then you love them, and then if it says it's worth less than you thought, then you hate them, right? Real estate professionals, I think we all scratch our head from time to time with Zillow, but when it comes to their economists, they're usually pretty much spot on. In December, they were forecasting that prices across the country, remember that graph I showed you earlier, most people were saying right at 8%. They were forecasting 11%. They had a much stronger forecast. In January, they said 16.4, and today or last month, they said 21.6 by May, and then they'll taper down a little bit to 17.3. So according to Zillow, it's going to be way stronger than any of us imagined. And again, anybody that took econ in college or knows anything about supply and demand, you know when the supply is low and the demand's high, the price goes up, and that's what we anticipate is going to continue. Let's talk a little bit about that demand. Daniel Hale from Realtor.com says affordability will increasingly be a challenge as interest rates and prices rise, but remote work might change things. Anybody in here working remotely? Working from home? Didn't used to work from home, but now you work from home? Yes, sir. I know all kinds of people, large companies, small companies alike, that are working from home today. Because they can work from home, they can work from where? And they can live almost anywhere. So it's changed. You know, the demand, the demographics have changed. People are willing to move out just a little bit further. But they anticipate that the market will continue to be competitive. Mark Fleming from First American says strong demographic demand will continue to act as the wind in the housing market sales. First-time home buyers will get priced out of the market. You know, we're really fortunate here. Don's heard me say this before. I run the companies that he mentioned. We're both part of a company that is nationwide, and we've got markets all across the country. And I get on a call every single week with these folks, and I get to watch the prices, the average sales prices in all these markets. And we sit in the bottom 3 constantly in terms of average sales price. The value in Boone County, sir, is still really good. You know, don't tell anybody, but it's really good. Don't tell the people in California. We'll just leave it at that. And every time they get to the end of this call, they start talking, and the guy that we all work for will get down there, and he'll have all the other CEOs on there, and get down at the bottom and say, now for all you guys that are looking for deals, you need to call Brad to come to our market. We want no part of it. My point is, we've still got a great value here, even though it does feel like the prices have increased significantly, and they are pricing people out of first-time home buyer window. And y'all see the apartments going up like crazy. I thought they were out of their mind. I get it. It's all starting to make sense. You know, the higher the prices go, it prices these people out. They've got no alternatives but to go to markets. To go to apartments. It's going to lead to less multiple offers, and it doesn't affect the value as much according to Brian B. Just a couple of notes about Gen Z. They're really young, but these kids that are coming out of high school, barely out of high school, barely in college. They value home ownership. 72% of them want to buy in the future. Over half of them live in the suburbs and prefer them to downtowns. 71% of them plan to move in the next 5 years. 43% expect to buy a home in the next 5. 45% are saving for it, and employment stability and housing affordability are the key. There's more demand coming. The millennials, and I get the dates all confused, but I think they're late 20s to mid 40s. I'm close. The millennials are maybe backing up just a little bit. The millennials, that band of millennials is bigger than the baby boomers. I'm a 60-year-old baby boomer. Our segment of the population was the largest by far, and the millennials have worked us. Even the Gen Z's come behind them. They would want to buy houses, so the demand's not going to quit. But it's interesting. We talked about the multiple offers. We talked about selling above this price. 82% of millennials regret selling about buying their first home. And the guys in the room know why, right? There's one house, it's $225. It's clean. It's in a great location. It's priced right. And there's 15, 20, 25, 30 offers. If it's priced right in a great location, it goes crazy. The $220,000 house ends ends up transferring for 270, and then people got caught up in it, and they lost out on 4 deals before that. They figure out they can make it work, and then they go home that night, they don't sleep for a week, and they bought it, and they're frustrated because, you know, they got caught up in it. Their buyer's remorse, they got caught up in the hype of all of it. It's hard. It's real hard. Pending sales continue. These graphs just indicate that the pending sales of the contracts didn't beat pre-pandemic numbers. So again, strong activity showing probably a stronger indication of what's happening next month and the next, way above where they have been. Overall, sales are down, and they are year to date in the local market. They are across the country. I would say across the country, they're down 17 or 18% first 2 months compared to last year. Overall sales are down, but it's not based on demand, it's based on inventory. Much of the demand is driven by investors, both institutional and folks like us, and luxury seems to be stronger than ever right now, which has been fun to watch. The economy's slowing due to no more stimulus, right? How many of y'all were a little concerned about all the stimulus dollars that were pumped into the system? I know people that were blessed by the stimulus dollars. I know people that needed it. I'm guessing there are people in this room, or people that you know, people in this room who you know folks that received stimulus dollars that didn't need them. I don't think it did our economy any long-term good. That's a personal opinion, and I'm not going to save enough time for questions, so you won't be able to challenge me on that. But there's no more stimulus dollars out there. You could watch the economy. The minute the stimulus dollars came out, the economy, it boomed. The minute it stopped, you could see credit card debt go up. See credit card debt go down, the market stimulated, and then all of a sudden the stimulus stopped, and you can see the credit card debt go up. It's not good. Inflation is currently at a 40-year high, and the article I read online, USA Today or wherever it was, the article that I read about gas prices, pain at the pump. Pain at the pump. You know, I read somewhere that whole deli meat had doubled in price. That's the only time I've ever heard anybody talk about that. But gas prices, you can't get on social media, you can't open up the newspaper, you can't go to a Rotary club without somebody talking about gas prices, right? And they put them up, they watch them, and our consumer confidence goes up and down as a result of it. And I think it's going to have a bearing on all of our business. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this one. At the end of the day, demand is still high and supply coming from sellers is low. What does it mean for us? With forecasted rates rising, sales will have to be front-end loaded in 2022. We feel the demand front-end loaded, the sales numbers are not necessarily front-end loaded right now because of the lack of supply. One opinion, according to Dr. Young at NAR, sales will drop 2% from 2021. Another one said sales will grow by 6.6. Another one said sales will rise by 16, rise to a 16-year high. I don't know that any of them are going to be accurate based on lack of demand. If you're thinking about waiting until next year, that rates might be higher, but you'll get a deal on prices, that's risky. It may be more advantageous to purchase this year relative to waiting in 2023 at this time. Again, with prices going up at the rate that Zillow thinks that they'll average 21, 22 this year, waiting is probably not a great idea. We get asked all the time, you know, when do you think this thing's going to slow down? You think I should wait till a little bit later in the year? You can wait, but you'll pay more. You'll pay more. Either way, 2022 is going to be a wild ride. I am absolutely convinced of it. Whether or not sales will beat last year, I don't think that's going to happen. I hate that for everybody in the room, because every time a house transfers, every time somebody buys a house, sells a house, moves into another house, it drives all of our economy, right? It drives every portion of every square inch of our economy. I don't think it's going to move as fast as it did, but you know, it may slip down to a little bit more healthy, sustainable rate. I do hope that the inventory begins to climb. I do hope that there's a little bit of a shift so that inventory starts to climb and we get some more normal appreciation, some more normal activity in the market. But we think it's going to be an interesting year. How many of y'all are familiar with Harvey McKay? Nobody's ever read a book by Harvey McKay. I'm assuming the charge about being eaten alive, dig your well before you're thirsty. Any salespeople in this room? One. More salespeople. Some people are salespeople. I know you are. Harvey McKay says there's 3 things you look for when you look for a good salesperson. Are they hungry? Are they hungry? Are they hungry? I am convinced for anybody in this room with sales, us in the real estate business, in 2022, we're going to have to be hungry. In 2023, we're going to have to be hungry. We're gonna have to work like we've never worked before. We're gonna have to put up with challenges we've never put up with before. We're gonna have competing interests like we've never had before, inventory challenges like we've never had before. It's going to be, and we still have no idea. I think Corona, home Corona, great Corona is in the rearview mirror. No idea what the Ukrainian crisis or invasion is going to bring us. We don't know what the ripple effect is going to be. At the end of the day, we're going to have to work really, really hard. And by the way, those are supposed to drop in one at a time so that I could lead you through it. Here, anybody know John Madden? John Madden said he only had 3 rules: be on time, pay attention, and play or work hard. I think for all of us in business, in our world, we're going to have to be hungry. I think we're going to have to show up. We're going to have to be informed. We're going to have to work real, real hard. I appreciate y'all having me. I am going to answer any questions that you all may have, or I know real estate brothers here from Jim and Don would be glad to join me. Does anybody have any questions about the real estate market, local or national? Yes, sir. Participation in investment properties and in flips and in Airbnbs is really, at a level that none of us have ever seen it. I don't think that. I don't think the TV shows have heard that at all. Getting channels, on the internet, around real estate. It's the golden goose right now, and it's created some really unique sales prices, real eye-opening transactions. So yeah. Yes, sir.
Our builders in the area want to build more homes, obviously. We've got workforce shortage, we've got supply chain shortage and challenges. But they want to, one builder told me if he could build 100 market homes tomorrow, he'd do it. Is that the solution to this situation we're in? Is that the only solution, to build more homes, or are there other solutions?
Yeah, I think that, the market is going to beat the market. Eventually, this market's going to find some form of stability, right? Through rising rates, rising prices, which will decrease demand and price people out more. There's going to be rentals, so they can finally work themselves in a position what they can buy. I think that new construction is the only place the new units are going to come from, unless folks take apartment complex, renovate the condominiums, but that still doesn't solve the same home challenge. But right now, I don't know if anybody has a solution for the supply chain and the workforce challenge. Supply chain is crazy right now. It's crazy in everything, obviously new construction, but it's crazy almost everywhere. Inventory all the way down to grocery stores is very difficult, right? Or trying to order a part for a lawnmower, or whatever your van might be. The workforce challenges, they're weirder now than before. It seems to be in this time, it's not judgmental. I've got my wife and I have 8 children, and all of them are fall into the millennial category. It's just a different mindset, it's just a different mindset. We're looking for different things that a lot of people in this room were looking for when they were looking to get it, when they were looking to work. So it's just hard out there right now. I think all boards are doing that. The bigger builders will 200, 200,000. If they could get the supplies, if they could get the workforce, if they could get the grounds, if they could get it all right, if they could get into a price point that makes sense. And right now, nobody's had a lot of success. Yes, sir.
Just a local market issue in all those areas you just think. How much do you think this Amazon has?
It seems like me personally, and Don does the same business that I do. It seems like 20% of all movers and shakers are Amazon, either directly or indirectly motivated in Spoon County in particular. And they don't like to go to Kenton and Campbell for the most part. It's primarily Boone. So it's a big influencer.
And should be long term. There should be great opportunities created as a result of that long term. It'll attract a lot of other businesses. Anybody else real quick? Get ready to get the hook. Thank you all so much for having me. A parting gift. It's our Rotary egg timer. So we appreciate you coming up. Couple things to do real quick. Next week is we're going to hear from all the charities that we support. Then the following week is our Teacher of the Year celebration. So make sure you put those on your calendar. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.
What